What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you, and I wanted to bring you a video featuring the women on The View talking about how Governor Greg Abbott is doing all this bad stuff by putting a barrier of buoys up on the Rio Grande River. How dare him try to stop illegal immigrants from coming into this country? They may get hurt. But anyways, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.
So yesterday, the DOJ sued Texas and Governor Greg Abbott, yay, for violating federal law by installing buoys which are endangering migrants trying to cross the river. Now, Abbott remains defiant. See the clip.
The fact of the matter is they're using some obscure statute to try to stop us from continuing to deploy those buoys. Is not grounded in law whatsoever. We believe we have the right to do so, and we will take this lawsuit all the way to the United States Supreme Court.
Yeah, where you think you're going to win just because. That's your goal. But why do they think this is the right? Well, I don't even know why I'm asking that question. But you know what I want to know. Yeah.
You know what, guys, man, we got to be honest. You can't secure the southern border of the United States because you might hurt some illegal immigrant. You might chip their nail. You might cause them to drown because you're putting a barrier up in the river. We gotta think about that for a minute. They are more secured with people south of the border than they are you, than they are me. Again, the people of this country, they are more concerned with the people south of the border than they are the ones in this country. And again, man, I'm not saying I want people to get hurt. Of course not. But the fact of the matter is, man, if you're trying to illegally break into a country and you get hurt on the barrier, then, oh, damn well. I mean, again, we have got to understand that we have to have borders. We have to have security. We do. And the fact of the matter is, man, we don't need to worry about everyone else. We don't. But again, that's what they do. That's how people appeal to the liberals, the Democratic Party. Right now. Again, it's all based upon emotion. You go after them emotionally. You go after people by building a George Floyd statue. You go after them by, putting up pride flags. And again, that works. That works. That's the way they respond. They respond to things by emotion. And again, we have got to understand that our country cannot, like Texas right now, they're in crisis. Again, there's drugs, there's sex trafficking, there are kids being taken across the border. But again, they don't care. They don't care. All they care about is that some, illegal immigrant might drown. And again, man, they're not going to drown if, guess what? They don't try to swim across and get over the top, right? And again, man, this wouldn't be happening if we would have built the damn wall.
Yeah, so I think two things can be true at once. Mm-hmm. I think this is an inhumane practice. It's dangerous. In many cases, they're surreptitious, so somebody's crossing and doesn't know in the water that they're going to hit it, and it can injure them. But we also have a crisis at the border that I would argue Democrats don't truly engage in until there's a scandal like this, whether it was the debunked story about migrants being whipped by CBP or this. Those are terrible things that should not happen. But if you're someone like a Governor Abbott, he's seen his border towns ravaged by cartels, by fentanyl, by unhoused migrants who are living in 110-degree temperatures at night in places like El Paso. I've worked on this issue for 10 years, and I feel like people are not trying to solve the root cause of it. We can't pretend that we're on the side of human rights if we're letting people live in squalid conditions without the right things they need.
You know, the thing about it,
all they're trying to do is get people upset, get them outraged. And again, what they do is they try to get Democrats outraged Man, I can't believe somebody got hurt at the southern border. They got hurt trying to illegally cross that river. And again, man, that is what they're concerned with. They're not concerned with, maybe somebody gets killed or raped or whatever by somebody who crossed that border. Maybe they bring drugs in. Again, they don't care about that. They don't care about that kind of stuff. What they care about is that, some person may drown or may get hurt in some way by trying to scale a border, a barrier. That's what they're concerned about. And again, they know exactly how to get people upset.
I have to tell you, okay, fine. There's a problem at the border. There's been an immigration problem in this country that hasn't been solved in decades. A lot of people don't work on it. Democrats don't work on it as much as they should. Republicans don't work on it as much as they should. However, unlawful entries along the southern border have decreased 70% from their record highs since the end of Title 42 on May 11th. 70%.
So it's reverted
it
to
seems
pre-pandemic
like
levels.
He's sort of dealing with a problem that is already declining instead of maybe worrying about the gun violence that's in Texas. There are a lot of other things that he can be worried about. And I'll say one more thing. I don't know why we're surprised at this, because I think that Republicans have been trying to demonize our institutions and destabilize our institutions, federal institutions, so that they can have states' rights and so they can do things like this and send it up to the Supreme Court where they think they're going to win because they've padded that Supreme Court. And just
Hold on.
Talk about gun violence. Again, gun violence. You're virtue signaling to everyone else out there. You're saying, oh, look at me. I'm so concerned about this. Governor Greg Abbott, he should be concerned about it too. He should be concerned about it as much as I am. But again, you're really actually not concerned about it. You like to claim you are. And you like to get on TV and say that why isn't people like, Republicans worried about that kind of stuff? And again, if we got mostly inner city Democrats to stop killing each other, we might get a handle on gun violence. We might. But again, you're not concerned about that. And we also have to understand that gun violence is just violence. It's people that use guns, mostly that are obtained illegally. Again, I'm not saying the guns are illegal. Some are, but I'm saying they're obtained through illegal means. And again, if you really were concerned about gun violence, then you would do something about the countless number of Democrats and Black Democrats in inner cities killing each other. But you're not. You're really not. You're just trying to virtue signal to everyone else out there, saying how good you are, showing everyone how good you are, and how bad somebody like Governor Greg Abbott is. That's what you're doing. And number two, man, again, we have to understand, I know you're a lawyer, but I think people need to remember that we have a republic, not a democracy. We have got to understand that we defer to local governments, to state governments, as what particular problems they're dealing with. And they have to deal with things in a certain way. Because again, we have to recognize that somebody, some border town in Texas is not dealing with the same problem as some inner city, suburb of Chicago. I mean, that kind of stuff. We have to understand they face different challenges. And we have to recognize that. We have to allow them to work on their issues, their problems. So again, we don't need to try to stop Governor Greg Abbott from putting a floating barrier of buoys up on the Rio Grande River. Again, they are dealing with huge problems coming across that border. And again, The Democrats, they're not dealing with that because, again, they don't want to. Because they want to be looked upon as the good guys. The ones out there virtue signaling each other, patting each other on the back, telling each other how good they are. That's all they're concerned about. They're not concerned with the reality.
You son of a